I can just look crazy.
No, don't look crazy.
Okay.
Act
La,
normal.
la, la.
No. Smile. And that's it. Welcome to If These Heels Could Talk. I'm Georgina with Solutions by Georgina.
And I'm Michelle with Bad Cat Digital. And
into our topic.
we normally talk really early in the morning, and right now it's really late in the afternoon.
Yeah, we're not sure if this is a win.
This is
for
a
you,
completely different kind of tired from what we normally are feeling.
I'm noticing
when we do
it's
this.
like herding cats. Like
It is
you guys
like herding
today,
cats. My
so
brain
it's
doesn't
kinda
work. Okay, so what we're talking about today
It's not that.
is not that. It's not about herding cats.
No.
What we're actually talking about today is succession planning and making your business more valuable. And the reason this came up today is because unfortunately, Queen Elizabeth has passed today. So we won't release this. This isn't going out live. This will be released, later. But that's the day we're recording.
Yeah.
And she was 96 years old.
I'm impressed.
Yeah. And you know that they had a plan. Of course they've had a plan. Here's the thing.
They had multiple
They had binders of plans.
Yeah, they got binders.
And here's the thing. Not only did they have a plan, not only did they have backups to the plan, not only did they have all of that.
They have triple kids.
But that has been in place. It's generational, the plans.
Hundreds of years.
I mean, like I watch the BBC shows. I love The Crown and the, whatever. And they talk about, this is a very crass way, but an heir and a spare, having a successor and then a backup plan for they have backup plans for everything. Anyway, the statement that was released by His Royal Majesty, King Charles III.
Okay.
The statement that was released had obviously been written a long time ago.
It was in a binder somewhere.
It was in a binder somewhere.
Yep.
Edited a couple, just double checked and out into the world. Plans upon plans upon plans. And it turns out that that's what it takes to make your business more valuable.
And it's not that hard.
And it's not that hard. Plans upon plans. So these are the kind of top 3 with bullet things. Maybe a 4th one we'll throw in.
No.
And now this information doesn't come from me or my brain.
No.
It doesn't come from you and your brain.
No, it does not.
This was actually provided to me in a lunch meeting with a succession planner. Now, being very clear, I'm not in the market to sell my business anytime soon.
Me either.
No, but right.
No.
But plans upon plans, right? I mean, the whole point is to build something for that can outlast me, right? Mm-hmm. That's the whole point that's my idea, right? Of a business and leaving a legacy and blah, blah, blah. So outlast me, what does that mean? Does that mean I have to die?
No.
Which is one kind of succession plan. It's an option.
It's in there.
Not my preferred choice, but it's in there. But much more likely, some sort of version of selling at some point is a thing.
Yep.
But for those of you who are listening who are clients, this is not an immediate term. Yeah, relax. This is not even on the radar. No. And it's not anything that's being planned or actively, but I am trying to set up my business in a way that I wouldn't have to spend a year trying to fix a bunch of stuff so that I could sell it, right? I'm trying to be responsible.
And because the business is ever moving and ever
shifting,
growing, all of those types of things. And we don't know that we're not going to die tomorrow.
That's true.
Not 100% guarantee.
Nobody's guaranteed it tomorrow.
Who wants to leave who wants to leave people with a pile of crud?
Well, and not only my partner.
Right. That's what I mean.
And my personal life, but my employees, my clients, I want to be responsible to all of them. So
yes.
How to make the business successful turns out has to do with how it's run in the first place.
That's just it. So it's a win-win.
It's a win-win.
That's why we're having this conversation.
It's a win-win.
This is a win-win conversation.
Value from a business. So where does value for a business come from? It obviously comes from strong financials. Duh. But how do you prove that the financials are strong? So accurate financial reporting and audited financials is a way to kind of increase the...
Who audits the financials?
Third-party accounting.
Oh, okay. So
right?
When I'm on nonprofits and the financials get audited
absolutely
every year or every 2 years or whatever.
We're both on nonprofit boards, right?
Yeah.
So we have a treasurer on the board. The organization has a financial officer, and those 2 people deal with all of the financials. They do the taxes. They do all of that stuff every year. And then a different company gets hired to audit their work and second check it.
Yes.
Double check
and
it.
the executive director, like
Yep.
it all just kind
It
of
all just kind of get looked at by somebody who's not in the active employ of that organization or their ongoing partner. It's a separate service. The auditing service is separate.
Do we know how often it's recommended if you're?
I have no idea.
I was going to say,
I think it would depend on the business and how complicated it is, how large it is, how complicated the financials are.
It would be good every 3-4 years, though, was my thought. Just
as
that
a double check. And
because I know, at least with the nonprofits, they send back a report from the
well,
audit.
nonprofits are required every year.
Right.
That's a law in order to keep their
Right.
nonprofit
And so
status.
But I'm thinking they always send back a report that's like, we'd make this suggestion, maybe these categories should be changed up. And
so,
I was thinking, boy, having somebody
I'm willing
to
bet an auditor would say you should have it done every year.
Of course, but yeah, as you say,
extra expenses, that's just not always doable. But that's the first thing. Audited financials. Okay. That's number one. That's kind of a gimme. That feels really obvious.
It does.
Another one, diversified revenue streams. So one of the things that we learned in the last few years, if you hadn't learned it already, is that sometimes one line of revenue for you could dry up. So for example, a great example would be restaurants that had to close during COVID. And then when they opened at a diminished capacity, which means how do you run a full restaurant with a full staff if you can only seat 50% of your tables? You don't. Mm-hmm. So you develop delivery services, curbside pickup. You develop maybe a bakery program. Maybe you change your to-go options. Maybe you rent out your kitchen at night to drive additional revenue. Maybe, right? Yeah. Maybe. But it's about diversifying revenue so that the revenue doesn't all come from a behind in a seat at a table at a restaurant.
Yeah, I thought of a variety of things came to mind. What came to mind when you brought up the pandemic and COVID was the plexiglass people. Yeah,
the plexiglass people.
Because
oh my gosh.
All of a sudden,
they had a great year.
Oh my gosh, right. They had a great couple of years. And I just envisioned them at like board meetings and stuff being like, okay, how do we make next year better? You don't.
Like, you're not going to.
This was your apex moment. Like this was your epiphany moment.
But here's the thing. I mean, think about it. Massive increase in demand for their product. Means in order to meet the demand, they probably had to increase staff. They had to increase infrastructure. They had to buy different things. They had to change some operating procedures, but they had to do it all not knowing how long it was going to last.
Right. And that's very important in that diversifiedness.
Right.
That they also made their consistent customers happy. Those people
absolutely
that had been there pre-pandemic. And those were probably the first people that got access to certain supplies and stuff. Because those people are going to be there. It was the
same thing with banks and the PPP loan. It was the same thing with distilleries and the hand sanitizer, right? Yeah. Like all of that. It's just a really good example of that diversification. But that happens all the time anyway. You know, I do digital marketing services. When I started, it was just me. And I have, area of expertise in these sub areas of digital marketing. So that's what we provided. But as we've grown and we've added expertise in different areas, we've been able to diversify our revenue streams. And then we move into a building that has spaces that I can rent out, a diversified revenue stream. So all of those kinds of things play into that. And that's diversified revenue streams is a valuation for your business.
I will add, sometimes I've had customers not, when I'm doing some business coaching and stuff, not recognize that diversified doesn't just mean in your products. It also means customers. So if all of your revenue is 85% of your revenue is coming from one particular customer.
Sure.
You don't have a diversified portfolio.
Right.
That customer leaves and you
have nothing.
Yeah. You have nothing. And it's painful. So,
and that's a lot of agencies. One of the things that agencies learned is traditional ad agencies were typically built on cornerstone customers. So you'd have clients that were 25% of your agency's revenue. Wow. And you'd maybe have 3 of those. And then you'd have a portfolio of small clients that made up another 25 to 30%. So you'd have 2 or 3 like cornerstone accounts, right? And in the old days, like Mad Men, days of ad agencies.
How far back can we go? Yes.
I mean, you would have an ad account for 2 decades.
Wow.
But that shifted. That started shifting in the 80s. It then started shifting even faster in the 90s. And now with digital agencies, companies move agencies all the time. So having cornerstone clients like that you build your business on isn't really the thing anymore. Now the thing is to have,
leave you vulnerable.
Right, it leaves you very vulnerable.
It would leave you vulnerable.
But one of the things I found was that even though we didn't have like a single cornerstone client, because I was watching out for that.
Yes.
But I wasn't watching out for industry clients. For a lot of clients from a single industry, and that industry then gets hit by something.
Sure.
And all of a sudden, in my case, it was healthcare.
Yeah. And it totally shifted.
So all of those kinds of things, a really, really interesting conversation. So diversified revenue streams,
yes.
Diversified client portfolio. You know, you talk about diversifying your portfolio. That doesn't just mean 3 different mutual funds. It means real estate, mutual funds, this, that, the other, like when you're talking about finances. And when you're talking about business revenue, it means different products and services, different customers, different clients, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it takes a little work, and you don't start there. Let me point that out.
No,
also. You don't start there.
No.
Don't. But
when you start, if you're lucky and you've got supportive family and friends, all of your clients are going to come from your mom when you start.
Yeah.
I'm not lying.
Yeah.
Or good friends, or I'm not lying. Let's be real.
If my networking, the first networking group, if that group of people had not been like, we believe in you, I wouldn't be sitting here.
No.
Like they invested in
they invested
in time and money and oomph power. So
let's roll.
But there was one product. I can come and organize your business.
Yes.
There was one thing.
Okay. So that's audited financials, diversified revenue stream. I'm going to put the 2B thing third and save the last one. Okay. So the 2B or third of 4, whatever. I don't know. We're not counting anymore. 2B is, or not to be, is a solid leadership team. Solid leadership.
Yeah. You're right. That belongs before 3.
Structured, solid leadership. That is in place, that is committed, dedicated, in kind of culturally strong position, solid leadership.
Yeah. And so when we say solid leadership, we mean the managers under us as owners.
We mean whoever is also in charge of something is has professional development, well designed, leadership development, well managed. They're manages well, doesn't micromanage people, doesn't need to. That team of people work together well. That team of people are productive together, are collaborative to some level. That when that's in place, a business can really succeed when it moves from owner to owner.
Yes.
When that's not in place, there's a lot of work to do. A new owner would have a lot to do to get that into place. And it's not inexpensive. It's not inexpensive, and it takes time.
Well, and why wouldn't you want it? Why wouldn't you want your business running that way anyways?
Right.
That's the
right.
These are all things.
But here's the thing. This is the thing that happens, and I've seen this happen. I've seen strong leadership teams get pulled apart in order to make the business more valuable on paper by taking away their salaries.
Oh, you're right. I have seen that.
So I've seen ownership remove or break apart strong leadership teams to make the balance sheet look better because their salaries are higher.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I've seen it. You're right.
But that actually undercuts the value of your business long term.
Yes.
So, it's one of those things that if you're kind of like, oh, I got to sell quick and I got to sell for as much as I can and da 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 da. But that's not really what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. And it also, that process does leave your business post your exit and your employees
incredibly vulnerable.
Yes, I was just going to say super vulnerable.
Well, I think it's actually kind of what am I trying to say? It's like a lie. Because here's this leadership team that's helped build the business.
Mm-hmm.
It's like fraud, I think, of the person who's buying it, because the person's buying the business as an entity, and you're going to take key pieces out to make it look better.
Yeah.
It's almost kind of like here's what I think it's like. I think it's like water damage in your house. that you just paint over.
But you're like, that sheetrock wasn't bad.
That's not really mold.
Oh yeah.
Right. And then all of a sudden somebody buys the house thinking it's not there.
And they go to hang a picture and
and then the wall disintegrates.
I've seen it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's like that. Like it's the short-term fix for the short-term gain, but long-term, it's kind of crappy.
Well, and you have to be comfortable at that point if that's
and you better sell it quick because you just
painted over the black mold.
Yeah, so you better sell it quick because otherwise, I mean, you've diminished the long-term value.
And you better be moving out of the community.
You better be leaving the culture pretty fast.
You don't think that gets passed around as information? Like, where do you think we got the story?
Yeah,
we didn't make it up.
Okay, so that's 2B. Yes. So strong leadership team, solid leadership team, right? Mm-hmm. In place. And I would say, turnover, like lower turnover is kind of part of that. And, retention and all of those things. Okay. But that's 2B. Mm-hmm. Okay. The third thing though, this was the one that really surprised me.
It did?
It really did.
Well, okay, as the organizer and kind of...
Yeah, it doesn't surprise you. So surprised me.
Yeah, I was like, no, that's unnormal.
Standard operating procedures. Now the procedures, the fact of the procedures didn't surprise me.
No.
But SOPs that are like written, documented in binders, but like binders of processes and procedures written down, standard ops. That increases the value of your business.
I'm not at all surprised. Like that just... But it increases the value of your business now
because it increases the efficacy of your business.
Right.
So really what we're talking about, a lot of people think about this stuff when they're thinking about selling.
You don't have to wait that long.
That's what we're saying.
It's like
you do not have to wait that long.
I can relate it in the personal life world.
Yeah.
To fixing up your house right before you sell it and making it just the way you wanted it.
Right. And then why would you want to leave? Like you finally got it done.
My husband does that all the time. Like he gets hired to get a house ready. He does painting and all. They paint with the colors they love. And they're like, why didn't we do I really like my
We should have done this like 3 years ago.
Right. And I have a girlfriend actually recently who was doing some home updates. I'm like, well, what brought this on? She goes, why would I not do this while I live here? Why would I wait till right before I move? And I'm like, I love that attitude. Like,
there's that whole I think it's HGTV show, Love It or List It. Have you ever watched that show? Oh, it's out of Canada, I think. And so it's a designer kind of redesigns somebody's house. And then a real estate agent helps them try and see what the options are to find something new. And really, when I watch it, almost everybody decides to stay.
I think the percentages are higher on that staying section of it. So your business, I equate it very similarly to that. It's like, you have this great business. You could do some things to shore it up, to make it operate better, which also increases its value long term
for you now and long term. And the thing is that, like, why wouldn't you just want to make your life better now? But I do understand because you can get so enmeshed in the day-to-day of the business and the sprints of the business and the keeping the marathon in mind is really hard.
And so part of why the Queen Elizabeth thing and the succession plan, we've had conversations about succession planning and why it's important and those kind of things. And I'm like, let's really talk about how that can actually be enacted now to bring value. I love that. Like it can bring value to your business right now. And should you get hit by the bus, this is now.
It's only going to be better.
So much of it is in place.
So much of it is already there.
The binders have been written. Like
the binder.
It's like,
I just think about binders full of women. That's all I think about is binders full of women.
No, I'm thinking I've done too many disaster preparedness. And trust me, when they do have those conversations, like with Red Cross, they hand you the world's biggest, like 4-inch,
like binder. Those giant binders,
big binder, and you're just like, I need a whole.
I kind of want a big binder.
I can get you one.
I think we should, because we're, it's one of those things like we're developing those standard operating procedures right now. Yeah. But it's hard in a moving environment to take the time then once it's developed to then document everything. Mm-hmm. And that documentation piece and taking the time out for that is so important.
It really is.
And what I'm discovering is that, one of the things that happens when you develop a new process is that everybody thinks they're on the same page, and then little things kind of crop up along the way.
Yeah.
And so if you take the time to document it, some of those little things might crop up while you're documenting instead of in real time when they can cost you money.
It can be helpful.
Yes, it can be helpful.
Yeah.
So that's it for us at If These Heels Could Talk. We really want to send our condolences to the royal family, as well as all the subjects. I think it's a really big shift and a really big change. And I mean, Queen Elizabeth II has been the queen for a really long time.
96.
She's 96 years old. She became the queen when she was what, like 20, 22, something like she was super young. 25 maybe.
Yeah.
She had her 75th anniversary, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is okay. So this is a big deal. So our condolences go out, and let's not let our businesses falter. Let's do our transitions and our succession just as well, with maybe less pomp and circumstance than the palace can muster.
It'll be a little more affordable.
But we can be just as organized. This is not difficult in that it is not challenging, but it is hard in that it's hard to do.
It's hard to slow down.
It's hard to slow down long enough to do. So thank you so much from us here at If These Heels.
Yes.
I got to stop